Hello, hello, hello. I am so excited to come in. I am Dr. Lucas Shallua. I am the president of Mount Eagle College and University in North Carolina, United States of America. I feel so honored to be part of Mwangamba Communications, to partner and to collaborate in training leaders and managers. I am a leader at different aspects and levels. I've taken leadership position in the academic area, in the organizations, and also in business. I have more than 30 years experience as a leader, and there are few things I have picked up in these 30 years. It has not been an easy journey, but I am excited that Mwangamba Communications is engaged and geared towards developing leadership. And while we are also doing the same, but in a different way, we thought that it is wise to combine our efforts and to do it together, because they say that alone you can go very fast, but together you can go very far. So it is a wonderful collaboration that we have, and we are looking forward working together. And you guys, I want to commend you for attending this workshop for managers and leaders. And I believe that there are many more to come. As a university, we are also geared in the academic part of it, credentialing everything that people do in order to develop themselves, to hone their professional skills. That's what a university stands for. And one arm of the university is to empower today and tomorrow's leaders, and to make sure that they're proficient, that they are competitive in the marketplace, and that they can do what they are supposed to do with all the equipment, with all the tools that it takes to become a leader. Having said that, I want to switch gears very quickly and talk about delegation in leadership. That is the topic that I will very briefly talk about it, and that is how and when and what is delegation, why is it important to delegate the duties we as leaders. So I'll start by defining what is delegation and why is it important. Many people might be asking themselves. So delegation in essence is a process by which we assign duties and responsibilities and authority to other people. But the accountability still remains with us. And this is a very important skill, a critical skill in organizations, for leaders and managers to know how to assign tasks and responsibility to other people. And why is it necessary? There are two reasons why it's very important for us to learn to delegate. Number one is delegation increases productivity at the personal or individual level and at the organizational level. If leaders do not delegate, it means that they will try to do everything on their own. And I believe you have been in a place where a leader is very busy. You cannot access them. They are spinning like that from the morning to midnight sometimes. Even on the weekend, you'll find leaders are very busy. But if you go to lower level management, people are just reading newspapers. They're not that busy. They're playing with their cell phones. So the productivity of the company as a whole or the organization is very low because the leaders don't want to let others do their job. They want to, brood over everything. And that is a sign of weakness. So the organization itself will have very low productivity, and that individual as a leader will have very low productivity because they haven't learned to trust other people and give portion of what is falling on their plate or on their desk to let others help them. So productivity is very important because if we delegate, we increase the productivity. We are not biased. The organization distribution load is equally distributed to everybody. I've worked in organizations where leaders are very busy, but mid and lower level people or managers, they have all the time in the world. And guess what? The organization as a whole, in terms of productivity, is going to be very, very low. And that's a no-brainer. So as a leader, you've got to learn to delegate. Now, that's the first reason. It's increasing productivity. But there is another reason why we should delegate. This is when we need to develop others. If you look in your life, somebody trained you, somebody trusted you, invited you, and trained you. So when the organization needs to develop other leaders, develop other managers, delegation is very important because this is the opportunity for them to develop the skills while somebody is watching them over their shoulder. So remember, productivity, if you want to increase productivity and you want to develop others, learn to delegate. That's very important. Now, if we reflect in our own lives, you will realize that there are two types of leaders. There are leaders who have this attitude. I struggled a lot to be where I am right now. I worked so hard and nobody showed me the way. I paved and charted the way by myself. So you also have to do exactly the same. We cannot spoon feed you, and we cannot just put plates with everything for you. You've got to find your own way. That is the first type of leaders. Another type of leaders have this attitude. I went through a rough way. I learned everything by myself so that you don't have to go through the way I went through. Because I have already charted the way. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. So what kind of a leader are you? Are you the leader who wants people to go through the way you went through? Or are you a type of a leader that you charter the way that others find it easy? It took you a lot of energy to throw the stone 1 mile. It should take your mentee very little energy to take that stone and throw it 2 miles because he is standing on your shoulder. So good leaders pave the way and charter the way for others to do their job a little easier, and that is in the effort of increasing productivity. In most countries, I've worked in a lot of African countries, I've worked in several African countries. I have seen that most leaders are afraid to delegate because they believe if you delegate, somebody is going to take their job. If that person becomes very good at a job, they shine, I will lose my job. So there is a lot of insecurity. This is what is said. Insecure and weak leaders do not develop others. And I've been in a situation whereby my boss was very threatened because of my presence or my position. So he tried everything he could do to make sure that I don't even know half of what he knows, because I could have taken his job. And guess what? With time, yes, I took his job. But in essence, leaders are supposed to be happy if they train their successors to come and become even better than themselves, because life is bigger than your position. If you're a weak leader, you'll find yourself struggling to delegate. But strong leaders, leaders who know who they are and what they're supposed to be doing, they always delegate. And for you to go even higher in your leadership, you need somebody to take your position. That is how life is. We normally take ourselves from our current position by training our successors to come and take our position. We increase our own productivity, and also we increase the productivity of our organization. Now, how do we delegate? This is another question you might ask, and it's important to know. Many places I have gone, people talk about delegation, but they don't tell us how to delegate. This is how I think. Delegation is like walking with two legs. It has two legs. Effective delegation has two legs. One leg is called training, another leg is called trusting. Now, what is training? Training is to identify right individuals with the right skill and capacity and assigning them specific tasks. And once we assign them with these tasks, this is in a part of training, we clearly communicate to them what they're supposed to do. And secondly, not only what they're supposed to do, but how they're supposed to do it. So we clearly tell them what they're supposed to do and how they're supposed to do it. We communicate their tasks very clearly. And we give them that responsibility to execute, and that is the part of training. Okay, so number one, we identify. Not only to identify, we assign. Not only that we assign, we show them what to do. We don't only tell them. I've been in places where your superior, your leader, your manager, your supervisor just tells you what to do, but they don't show you what to do. In other places, the mistake which is done, we do not match skills and capacity. We don't. I worked for a certain university here in the United States. By training, I'm a doctor. I have a medical background. That is my training background. And I taught university medical students in the veterinary area, and here in America, even in the human part of medicine. So I was teaching in this university, and my head of department, so most of my life, all the way to higher degrees, it was based in human and veterinary medicine. So I'm teaching in this university. Our department falls in the faculty where we also have people who learn biology or general biology, where it is plants and it is animals. And my supervisor came to me and he said, Lucas, we want you to also teach biology. And I say, I cannot teach biology. I left biology when I was still in high school. All my degrees are in medicine. So literally, I cannot do anything which is related to plants because I am specialist in the medicine, in the animal or in the human. That is my training. And I have higher degrees in that. But my supervisor did not match my capacity and my skill. He thought that because I was very good in what I was doing, I could do anything. No, I could only do what I have the capacity of doing that. Oh, so I said, yes, I went into the class, but I struggled a lot. I don't know plants. I don't know the forests. And then later on, after a few semesters, they took me back to where I could shine. So that is the trusting, the training part of it. If we go to the trusting part of delegation, there are a few things there which we need to consider. Number one, if we assign somebody a duty to do, responsibilities to do, we have to make sure they have the power to make decisions. We have to monitor them. We have to give them feedback. We have to acknowledge how they are doing. And this is the rule of the thumb. If you delegate tasks and assignments to somebody, they take all the credit if things go well. If the job is well done, you give them all the credit and you do that in public. That is a principle of good leadership. Give credit on public, but if you have to give them a feedback, if you have to correct them, if you have to help them correct things that they are not doing well, you don't do that in public. You do that in private. You call them in the office and you say, you did a good job, but this is how we do it. Don't do 1, 2, 3, or don't do it this way. If you do it this way, this is the problem. Next time, do it this way. That's a principle of good leadership and delegation. I had another boss who corrected me in front of everybody, and I felt so embarrassed. I didn't really like because, number one, he did not train me. He trusted me without training me. And when I made mistakes, instead of correcting me privately, he corrected me before everybody. And that is a sign of weakness because he wanted to show people how much I don't know. So actually, he was very insecure. Though he came as if he's trying to help me. And he said, Lucas, here you made a mistake. You cannot do this. You cannot do that. You cannot do... And in front of everybody. And I could see some of the people were really laughing at me. And I felt embarrassed, belittled. I felt that I was disrespected because these are people who are listening to me. Okay? Now, when you need to correct me, do not correct me in public. That is a principle of good delegation and leadership. If I am working for you, I am representing you. Okay? And if there is anything which is wrong, a leader is supposed to be accountable, not the delegee. If you have delegated it and I've taken the duty and I do something wrong, you are supposed to be accountable. So remember, if you delegate, you only delegate responsibilities. You do not delegate accountability. If things go wrong, it's your responsibility. It's your accountable, because it means you did not train that person well. Now, let's finish up by talking about when do we delegate? We delegate tasks that are not very important, but they're urgent. Now, if we have time, we'll go into that. If something is urgent, but at the same time, it's not very important, okay, but it needs to be done quickly, we delegate that. When you are overloaded as a leader, you have so many things to do, delegate it. Let somebody else carry that burden. You cannot carry everything by yourself. If a task is so repetitive, you have to do it every day, and it's just a small thing you have to do it. You photocopy it. Why don't you get somebody else to do the photocopy? Or do something which is not really demanding your brain work. Give it to somebody else. You as a leader, do things that really nobody else can do. That is your job. But if it is so repetitive, somebody else can do it. Let somebody else do it. You don't have to do it. Free your hands, free your time to wrestle with the tasks that really need you. Okay? When do we delegate? When it demands special expertise. Nobody else can do it. Only you can do it in the organization. Then do it. That one, you do it. Or you have somebody who has a special expertise. You are a manager. Like I trained in the medical field. I'm not a specialist in finances. So when it comes to issues about finances, I have to delegate it to accountants and auditors, internal auditors and bookkeepers. Let them deal with all things which deal with money, because that is their expertise. I have seen places where a leader wants to do everything. They become the jack of all trades. You delegate. Issues about money, let the money people do it. Issues about IT, computers and networking, let the system administrators and these guys who do, let them do it. Okay? You only monitor it. You just give them feedback. You tell them exactly what you want, how it should be done. Let them do the job. Also, another time we delegate. When do we delegate? When we need to foster and build collaboration in our team. If our team needs to collaborate, needs to develop that teamwork, people to work together, people to, know that everybody is important. Because you can be in a team, other people, other members of your team feel that they're not important. Everything only few people do, or you do everything while you are a member of a big team. So it's good to delegate. Let everybody do something. You develop that team or teamwork or team spirit, that it's not a one-man show. If I go to a place and a leader is doing everything while there are so many people around him who could help him, I immediately know we have a problem with the leader here. This organization is a one-man show. They don't want anybody else to do anything. That's poor leadership. Develop others. I remember a long time ago, I was watching a football match, And in this team, there was one player. Once he's given a pass, he will not want to pass to anybody. He will dribble that ball from goal to goal. And yes, he scores, and he became very popular. Everybody knew about this player, but we were using this player as a prototype of somebody who has poor leadership. Yes, the team has won. We have produced results, but it is only one man who was responsible for that. You don't need the others then. In a team, we have to balance between teamwork and results. Otherwise, you'll find you doing the job yourself. Everybody else will feel useless. They will feel that they are not needed, they're not important, their morale goes down, and there is no teamwork. Now, this is what is said, and it's very important. Good leaders produce results, but great leaders produce other leaders. Thank you so very much for this very short session about delegation. What is delegation? How do we delegate? When do we delegate? And why do we delegate? Thank you, and have a good afternoon, or for those who it's at night, have a good night. This is again Dr. Lucas Shallua, and I'm tuning in from United States of America, North Carolina. Thank you, and bye-bye.